the Preacha-OK. Well, happy Sunday. And I want to testify, share a testimony of a time about 10 years ago now. Yeah, approaching 10 years now. I actually, my husband and I was married at the time. We had an open marriage and we decided to go to a polyamorous meetup. Okay. And so the understanding at that time was we were going to the meetup so that I could potentially meet someone. But while we were getting ready, I noticed that he was getting ready. And I was like, hmm, this is interesting because he had kind of decided that, well, I no longer want to participate in this poly lifestyle, swinging lifestyle, having multiple loves and things like that. I don't want to do this anymore. We had already been doing it for a couple of years, testing it out. And again, the only reason why we were doing it at all is because he decided that he was no longer committed to me about halfway through the marriage. We were married about 15, 16 years at this point. And he decided that I have voids in my heart, in my life. Alive. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can. Thank you. And you could put syrup on it too, if they like. And so the grandkids are here. And my daughter, their auntie, is fixing breakfast. So, but anyway, so he's getting extra fixed up, you know, for this meetup. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I guess he changed his mind. Maybe he do want to be poly again. I don't know. So, I noticed he went and dug out his best church coat. Mm, whoa. Okay. He hadn't even worn that coat in a while, but he, and he was, I'm like, okay, all right. Okay. So we go to this meetup and I think we were the only black people. It was downtown Detroit somewhere. At the time, I think we were living in I don't know, either Auburn Hills or Rochester Hills or something like that. But so we go and I think we're the only black people at first, mostly white people. And then a black guy comes in and he sits across from us. And I look at my husband, I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, we were open to white people. We you know, had been seeing a white couple before. In fact, hmm, interesting. I'm gonna have to look at my dates. You know, again, this was 10 years ago. So anyway, oh yeah, that's right. My dad had died. Yeah, my dad had just died, and we had just ended a relationship with this white couple that we had been seeing. Okay, it's all coming back. Okay, so he decided, we're gonna let this go. All right. But then we go to this meetup. He's getting all excited about this meetup, but not saying anything to me, but just, showing the excitement. So we go, we see this black guy, and, we're all talking, everybody in the group, the meetup. I connected with the guy. I don't know. I connected. And after the meetup, of course, my husband and I talked about it. We talked about everything. well, I realized that I talked about everything. I talked about everything. He's always had his secrets, of course, but I wanted to bring everything to the light. Anything that was in dark, let's bring it to the light. I didn't have anything in the dark, but he did. So let's bring all this to light. So let's live an honest, open lifestyle. You know, I have a lot at stake here. I had given up my career to be a stay-at-home wife and mom mostly. I was a substitute teacher at the kids' school. To me, they don't really count because you don't get a pension, you don't get anything that lasts long term. So that's just fast cash, part-time work. So, he's the breadwinner. I have a lot to lose here. You know, I already know doing he's been doing whatever he wanted to do anyway. I just want to have a little more control over the situation. Let's be open and honest about what you are doing, really. But here we are, a couple years into this open relationship, this open marriage, and he decides he wants to close his end. And I'm like, well, I can't afford to close my end. I don't have any financial freedom or independence, and you don't want me anymore. I mean, like, what are my options? You make it clear you're not committed to me anymore. The money not flowing like it used to. He's drying up on me. He's drying up on me. I don't have any financial independence. We've been together 16 years. The kids are bigger. Okay, so where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? So we meet this guy, and, I continue to talk to the guy, see the guy. The guy is going through a divorce, going through a divorce. So, he's telling his side of the story, you know, and he admit that he was a jerk, but, he didn't give the details. But, it was his fault. He was a jerk, and, the marriage was boring. He was a preacher's kid. She was a preacher's kid. And, they got married young and college educated people and all that, everything was, in place. But he just made it seem like, life was boring and he was a jerk. And, you know, he realized that he's just not the kind of guy that need to be with just one person. So my husband and I, we could understand that for whatever reason. We understood that. And I continued to see this guy. And eventually he moved in with us. And he lived with us for a year, or whatever. So again, my husband has always done what he wanted to do anyway, you know. But, I needed to learn how to date again. Prior to my husband of, 16 years, 17, 18 years at this point or whatever, I was married before, you know. So here it is, 21 years of being married. Uh, I'll be in there in just a minute, okay? All right, give me a second, guys. And, you know, I needed to practice dating again, and I wanted to do it in a safe way with my husband, my husband, to make sure I'm safe. This is my provider, my protector. Again, he's doing whatever he want to do. He made it clear that I'm not his preference. I'm black, I'm evil. Now that I've raised his kids, and he don't need me no more. He makes more money now than ever, and just throwing it in my face that, yeah, you've done a good job, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't need you no more. You're disposable now, you know, and you don't make money. So, ugh, out, you know, out with the old and with the new. Shame on me, y'all, for being stupid. Shame on me. You know, it is what it is. So, I had every right to prepare myself for being dumped. I had every right. And I hadn't dated in 20 some years. So this is my chance before I get dumped to know what it's like to be out here dating again. Because, see, back when I was dating, men wanted to be married. Men wanted to be married. Wives were still valuable, you know, back in the 80s and 90s and stuff, even if men were running around. You got something to drink? Okay. Carson, if you want something to drink, you can get the vanilla drink. I don't have time for tattletelling right now. We can do tattletelling when I'm off my live. Thank you guys. So, yeah, so I had every right to relearn men, what they're like. And then I also discovered that my attraction for women was real. I never had time to ever think about that. I was married at age 20 and it was on and popping. I took being a wife and mother very, very, very serious. And, I was in church and, I just did the doggone thing. So, kids are raised, the boys are teenagers, the girls are grown, they're on their own, the boys are teenagers. And now I'm not needed anymore. But I didn't prepare for when he don't want me anymore. Now that's the part that I want to advise women. You know, I will never discourage a woman from doing what she got to do to get her kids grown. You stick with the man, if you can, and if you're strong enough to be independent and raise the kids on your own, so be it. I didn't go that route. I chose to just stick with the man and, do the best I can with them, And, but I knew my husband was going to leave me. So it was, obvious. But I had no idea it would take like, at the end of the day, it took 10 to 15 years for him to leave me. You know what I mean? I mean, how do you prepare for a 10-year breakup? Yeah, you can't. You really can't when you're dependent on that person and all the kids depend on you and you got grandkids and, other women living in your home, other men living in our home. It was just a lot going on. Too much. Too much going on. Not only was that guy living with us, but his sugar baby was living with us too. His sugar baby. So it was a lot going on, guys. But I still used all of that to learn how men are today. Again, when I was dating and when I was getting married, men were more committed, even if they still were, messing around. There was still a deeper, I don't know, it's just more commitment. I don't know, I can't explain it, but at the end of the day, I know I'm being done. What I mean? And I don't have a end date and I don't have any money. And I don't, I'm just not a very like strong, independent kind of woman like that. I just wasn't like, I didn't have the experience to pull off of, to be prepared, to be left, So people may say, you deserve to be left because you should have just, stuck by him no matter what, and stayed faithful, kept your legs closed or whatever. Yeah, I could have. But he was leaving anyway. He was leaving anyway. And I just would have been left with no experience, with no updated knowledge of what men were like. I would have been ran over, you know? I would have been like just completely devoured and my kids. It just would have made no sense. So I did what I had to do. And yeah, he did eventually leave me for a secret woman. And he didn't even have to do that. It could have been open and honest all the way. But he wanted to be secret and leave me for somebody. So, I couldn't stop any of that, guy. So he just had to go. I just had to let him go. It is what it is. So, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of stuff. The sugar baby was our daughter's girlfriend. That was very hurtful and humiliating and embarrassing and all that. But, we've gotten through all that. And Still getting through it. We're still getting through it. He's gotten married and moved on and act like none of that happened. But my kids and I and grandkids, to this day, we're still recovering. We still have to talk about this stuff. You know, some of the, details are still popping up of, all the manipulation and stuff. We're still dealing with it. He's happy with his money and new woman and family. And we're still cleaning up from all the, it felt like a hurricane, and we're still cleaning up behind it. And I see myself maybe like 2 years out from, being as stable as I need to be, you know? So we'll see. One day at a time, one day at a time. And again, I'm not innocent. I was a very silly, foolish woman for thinking that a man could love me and my children and provide and do what he said he was going to do. He promised, he stood up, in front of a lot of people, a lot of witnesses, and said he was going to take care of this family. And it's not that he didn't do anything for us. I'm not saying that. He did work and he did pay bills. He did. And we are thankful for that. And we're still living off of it today. We have no choice. We've never had the option not to. So now we're learning how not to depend on him anymore. We're learning. We're learning, you know, and people make it hard. They make it hard because, it's just one of those extremely humiliating, embarrassing things. And people just don't have the kindness in their hearts right now to have compassion. And it's okay. It's okay. I have enough. I have enough of the fruit of the Spirit to get myself and children and grandchildren out of harm's way. And we're about 2 years out before I can say that the divorce is no longer, just wreaking havoc over our lives. I believe it'll always have an everlasting effect on us, but the heat of it, we'll be out of the heat of it in about 2 years. Praise God. But anyway, this gentleman was going through a divorce, and my husband and I were able to, guide his family through that process. And as time went by, I realized why his wife, you know, or he, or I don't know who, filed for divorce, but I need some time, guys. Give me a minute. Um, I forget all those details, who filed and all that, but at the end of the day, I know why their marriage ended. I know why it ended. And that's why I had to let him go too. I had to let him go for similar reasons, you know? And whether I was right or wrong, whether I was right or wrong, um, I was no secret, I was no secret to her. She always knew about me, you know. They were already going through the divorce process. It was already filed. Um, Again, I'm not saying I was right or wrong. You know, I'm second position, I already had me a husband. This man and his wife, they're going through a divorce. So, you can call it how you see it. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. But when I realized that I could no longer be with this man, he don't need to be in our home anymore. I had to start preparing for him to go, you know, and it was a process, and and during that process, I actually, had a conversation with his um, ex-wife, and whether right or wrong, uh, and that's how I stated it to her. I apologized for any interference I may have had. I apologized. Even though from day one she knew about me, because I that's how I do, that's how I rock and roll. That's how honest I am. I had it, because they had children, minor children, and those children were going to be at my house because he lived with me for at least a year. So, with the children coming to my home and me being involved and all this kind of stuff, she had to know about me, and I ended up being on, emergency kids list at school, picking up the kids from school, being, very involved. I really helped their divorce process in a positive way. And then when a relationship ended, just in case I, played some type of negative role, I apologized. The relationship ended and it was over. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that, you know, I understand how people can end up together. I understand how my ex husband, well, both of them, both ex husbands, end up with other women. I can understand that. I'm not blind to the world. But there are ways to do these things without causing so much hurt, without deception, without dishonesty, without, you don't have to just leave people all busted and disgusted because you want somebody else. Really? It's just not necessary. And that's what my whole channel was about: improving marriage laws, improving common law marriage, improving homewrecker law marriages, you know, improving all this where no one has to be hurt, cheated financially, cheated of emotions, feelings, because my ex had me believing that we were working on our marriage, that we were together. He moved into my family's property, all while he was pursuing this woman to marry her at the same time. Now, I don't know how she sleep at night. I know how these other women are. They be feeling like they deserve these men, they earned these men. They be feeling like the current wife is evil and mean and she don't deserve him and don't want him no more and he don't want her no more and all this kind of stuff. It's not always that way. That was not our case. My husband lied. He lied to me, lied to my mother, lied to my daughters, lied to our sons, lied to our grandsons, our grandkids. He lied. He made me believe we were together. He made me believe we were working on our marriage. He made me believe and then left me hanging, dependent on him, with 5 suicide attempts because of him. Not exclusively because of him, but definitely triggered by him. And the world may say he had every right to do it, and that's fine. That's what the world say. But Most High does not believe that. Most High, God, whatever you want to call him, Allah, Yahuwah, whatever name you use, I'm pretty sure he don't approve of men treating women and children like this. I know he don't approve of it. No matter what God you serve, he don't approve of this. I know. That's why I have to speak up. I have to speak up. I don't want my daughters treated this way. I don't want my granddaughters treated this way. They serve their family for years and years and years. And then that man can just leave them broke with all that fake hope. My husband was wrong. He was wrong, wrong, wrong. And I want our adopted sons to know it. I want my adopted sons to know their father was wrong. I was wrong too. I didn't have to let myself, you know, be drugged the way I was drugged. But I did. I was a weak, foolish woman. I want my daughters and sons to know and grandkids to know, yes, I have a strong side. I do have a strong side. But my weak side is filled with foolishness. Let a man come in and pretty much destroy us. We're still breathing and we ain't dead. And we're going to be all right. But it's going to take some time. And I just want y'all to know I was wrong. And he was way wrong because he's supposed to be the head of the family. He was supposed to be the head of the family, guiding us to safety. Well, he just left us, abandoned us, and just keep throwing a few dollars here and there. Well, those few dollars is not enough. It's not enough. He didn't apologize. He don't admit nothing. He just got married and said, fuck y'all. That's okay. 25 years of fuck y'all. 25 years of fuck y'all. Well, it's possible that, God blessed him, you know, to be, relieved of us. And it's possible that God blessed him with a whole new family. And God blessed him to be happy and, and rich and move on because we ain't shit. It's possible. It is possible that we just ain't shit. And God blessed him with a whole new family because he's such a wonderful man. It is possible, guys. I admit anything's possible. Anything. But in my heart, in my belief, and in my Bible, I just don't see where my kids and I deserve this. I don't see where we deserve halfway through the marriage for him to make it very obvious that, oops, I made a mistake. I don't want y'all. And then have a relationship with our daughter's girlfriend. To this day, he do. I just don't see how that's right without our consent. We never consented to any of this. And he was the leader, the husband. I sacrificed my career, independence for his leadership, in exchange for his leadership. And he just threw it in our face and said, fuck you, and ran off after 25 years. So, again, people can take my story and use it how they want and say she deserved every moment of that. And then other people may say, damn, that's just fucked up. And I have compassion. Whatever side of the fence you on, that's up to you. But I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell it, and I'm going to tell where I was silly and foolish, and I'm going to tell where he was just brutal, just a brutal beast. And it's possible that, he may not treat this other family like he treated us. It's very possible. God has mercy where he will. He has no respect of people, per se. But I also know that you reap what you sow. I know that. And I'm reaping. I'm reaping being a dumb woman. I'm reaping it. And I'm going to tell my story as truthful and honest as possible. Both ways. Where he was a brutal beast and I was a silly dumb woman. Both. It took both for all that madness to happen. All that disgusting madness to happen. And I'm glad that recently a couple that I like resurfaced so that I could, just check my temperature. Am I still like that? Because I only got that way because of that marriage. Am I still into multiple people? I don't know, guys. It was a survival mechanism at the time, an escape mechanism that I'm going to say Most High threw my way, whether right or wrong. I grabbed on it and I'm free today. That's all I can tell you. And I had the option to get with a couple. I mean, they're interested. I'm interested. I mean, I know we live in a world that says women that look like me and as old as me don't have a chance out here for nothing. I know. But in my world, that ain't so true. But I don't know 100% anymore, guys, to be honest. I haven't dated in 2 years, anybody. And I haven't been with a couple, in many, many years, So, so I figure, hey, take my time. It's no big hurry. It ain't like I've been without men. I had sex for the first time at 14, and I've been having sex up until about 2 years ago. So I ain't had no sexless life. I had plenty of sex. I was married for 32 years, and I gave my husband sex. I mean, I know they had sex with other people. They may have, cheated and had sex with other people, but it wasn't because of lack of sex with me. Trust me, it wasn't that. And I'm not saying that to brag. I was an exploited child. I was a molested child. I was exposed to sex at age 5. But as far as me choosing when to have sex, I was 14. But I was exposed to it at age 5. You know, it was in, I was, I'm a, I won't say victim. People don't like that word. So my sexual life started off incest. 3 different uncles juggled me for 3 years. No, 6 years. From ages 5 to 11. I always get these numbers mixed up. I'm getting older, so the numbers are getting mixed up. So from ages 5 to 11, 3 different uncles for that 6 year period of time juggled me. So sex is, I won't say it's nothing to me, but I'm just saying, having sex with my husbands was nothing. You know what I mean? They can't say lack of sex was the problem. They can't use that on me anyway. They may have some other reasons, but they can't use that. They can't use that. You know, I'm just saying. And then, I have above average skills in that department because of my athleticism and, you know, being a dancer, gymnast, just all that stuff. So they can't use that on me anyway. But, they may have their other reasons that men have. They have many reasons for cheating. It's just their nature, whatever. I just say be honest. You don't have to cheat. Just be honest. I just want to know who and how much. Who and how much. Who and how much. That's fair. Who and how much. If I can't know that, then we don't need to be together. That's my boundary. Every woman is different. Some women be like, I'm the only one. As soon as I find out about anybody else, I'm gone. I say those kind of women, you just need to be gone anyway because most men have multiple women. Most men do. Not all, but most. So you may as well just be gone. Those are the women that keep the divorce rate way high. Those are the ones that keep the divorce rate way high. Because the first sign of cheating, they out. Well, what man don't have multiple women? You know, which one don't? I ain't never had one that didn't. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever. So either I was going to stay single and not have nobody because, most men cheat. Because the sun, I mean, you can only travel so far to look for somebody that does not cheat. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, are you kidding? I mean, I'm in the hood. I can't afford flights to go all over the world to find a man that don't cheat. You know what I'm saying? You know. And so I just don't have flights to do that. So I'm just gonna stay right here in America, local, domestic, and just enjoy myself. I don't care what men do on that level. I don't. Just who and how much. Who and how much. And if you don't want to talk about it, then you're not the one for me. Because this woman walked away with half the pension. That's expensive. That's a lot of money. Half the pension is gone. Half the pension is gone because of a woman I didn't know about. So, opening up your marriage do not guarantee your husband's going to be honest. If he just want to be lying and cheating and, and don't want you to know his business and don't feel like you have the right to his money after 25 years, there's nothing you can do legally. Legally, it's not a whole lot you can do when you're poor, when you're dependent on him, when you're not independent, you know. Okay, guys, sit right here. Stay in this room. Stay in here. So, guys, all I can do is still be the best mother and grandmother I can be. And, before the little alimony run out, get a little job somewhere or, figure out an income. As long as I'm breathing, there's going to be bills to pay. It is what it is. But I'm still going to keep talking about this and, raising awareness because it's not fair. It's not fair. I know to a lot of men it's fair. You know, well, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. And it's not fair to women and children when this happens, especially when the original plan was to be married forever and make sure the family has generational wealth. Well, when you sneak off and leave and take, 50% with you and give to the next person who did not earn anything, you know, um, it's just not fair to women and children, although men can justify it all day long. All right, guys, you be blessed. And even though I'm talking about all this, my life is getting better every day. My life is getting better every day. I'm developing more options every day. You know what I'm saying? But I will continue to talk about this for the rest of my life because I'm Dr. Leisha the Preacher and I want to have something to write about books and I want to do movies and TV shows and, you know, whatever to keep this topic going. Why so many women start off trying to do things the right way, as far as like being good daughters, being good sisters, going to school. Please wash your hands and come in here. You know, going to school, getting married young enough. I mean, I did what I was supposed to do and just ended up cheated and left for me and my kids to fend for ourselves because these men who promised to be family men through the churches decided they want more sex. Okay. Well, that's how the deal goes, guys. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully more women like me will continue to talk and will continue to raise awareness and run for office so that we can make a difference. Women and children won't be left so broken. If men can figure out how to have all the women they want without women and children being left broken, then maybe we can, have something here. Just figure it out, guys. That's all I'm asking. Figure this out. Have your women without leaving women and children broke. If y'all can do that, then I say, hey, let's do it. Let's do it. You all be blessed. Have a great day. My grandchildren are demanding. You're so demanding. I'm the weekend grandma. The weekend grandma. I love it. I'm not complaining. I mean, I did this for my kids forever. I didn't start going out and having fun until my boys were teenagers. All while my girls were coming up, I didn't go out. I did not go out. I was not. I didn't know what a club was. Nope. And by the time my boys, which were adopted, by the time they, got up some size, and my husband said, "I don't want you no more." I did all that work. You know, that's when I started opening up, going out. I saw the writing on the wall. I had to prepare. My mama said, "Don't let nobody tell you more than once they don't want you. Don't let nobody tell you more than once." I didn't need him to tell me more than once. He was already showing me the whole time, and saying crazy stuff. I'm black, I'm ugly, I'm evil, whatever, just trying to tear me down before he run off to his white woman so I can feel like shit, whatever. So it didn't work all the way. It worked some. I'm out of money. I'm out of money. So it did work some. But it's gonna take a lot more than him to ultimately out of the bathroom, guys. Out of the bathroom. So my wild grandkids. They so wild. But I love them. They all I have. They all I have. My kids, my grandkids. My baby kids. Baby and her kids. And it's not that we don't need no man. They just keep, leaving us for other women. They keep leaving us for other women, making more kids that they don't want. You know. Yeah, 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 yeah. And like I said, I accept the fact that, these men, rich men, they can do what they want. They can go from family to family to family in the name of happiness, in the name of happiness and salvation. And it don't matter how many people they leave behind broken, it don't matter. Because their happiness is what's most important. And everybody else's happiness is just to hell. Yeah. But we're still happy anyway. I mean, no one man had that kind of power. They want to feel like they had that kind of power, but Most High decides who is destroyed or not. He makes that decision, not these men. They don't have the power they believe they have. But, I just talk about it. I talk about it because that is the effects of their decisions. The effects of their decisions is to leave that ratchet old woman I used to love. I used to think something about her. Just leave her. And I ain't thinking about them kids. They don't care if the kids eat or not, have clothes or not or nothing. Don't care. As long as they having sex, making their money with who they want, and they think it's peaceable. And then, of course, when that woman get out of pocket, because at some point we all do, then they just go to the next one that they secretly have lined up. That's just what they do. It's the pattern. So I've decided I'm just not gonna participate anymore. I'm not gonna participate. I'm tired of being dumb. So I'm tired, exhausted, and so I'm just gonna save my energy for me. I'm saving all my love for me. I'm saving it. And I'm glad I saved some love. I saved some love for me and my kids and my grandkids. And there's enough here as long as that I'm not silly and let some brute beast come up in my life and destroy it. I will never do that again. Ever, ever, ever. It is way too expensive. Way too expensive. It costs too much mentally. It costs too much spiritually. It costs too much emotionally. And then it costs too much physically. Half my money is gone. Oh, child. Half the money gone. Lord, that's the part that just, whew, whew. All that other stuff is easier to rebuild in the Lord. And, I'm not saying the Lord can't rebuild the money. I'm not saying that. But it sure takes some effort. It sure do. Especially the older you are and you don't have, that work experience. You don't have that, because you build up men. I build up men and let them leave me for the women. That's the silly part. My independence should have always stayed on the table. Always. So, women, yes, you have to be independent. You have no choice. So, I don't even know why that's even a discussion out here in the world. Who can afford not to be independent? No man, no woman on this earth can afford not to be. And those of us, whether a man or a woman, who are not, break your neck to get there. Get there. Especially before you're committed in a relationship. Especially before then. Because if not, then you're going to be drugged through the mud. And it's legal so far at this point in history. But hopefully all this stuff will be changing. Changing where women and children will not just be broke because men are tired of them and don't want to be responsible no more. I think men need to be more support to one another. And that's not women and children's fault if men don't have what they need. How is it a woman and children's fault when men who lead the families don't have what they need? Even when you're at work, how well can you do your job when your employer, the lead, does not give you the supplies to do the job? They hire you. Men put rings on fingers to hire women, but then don't give them the supplies to do the job and complain, just like at work. How can you do your job if honesty and truth and supplies are not there? The instructions, you know, the pay, especially the pay. But men don't look at women's work as payable. So, so we just get ran through, meaning not sexually ran through, but our essence as women. It just get used and then our bodies are left like corpse. Seemed like that TNT did work. I think we'll be dying. Guys, it's probably some of my demon powers. All right, let me get off. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it. Y'all be blessed. Bye.